I think it's beautiful because when you talk about the universe, the first thing that popped into my mind is this universe is also embedded in a larger universe.
Hmm.
So this, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying that it's not really absolute.
Yeah.
It's it's beautiful and it's kind of the two sides of the same coin, let's say.
Hmm.
Okay. So in order to have, that's why it's for me it's been like the experience of the whole, it requires the experience of the part.
Hmm.
And that's a paradox, which is very, very a beautiful paradox. And so yeah, so that's why I think boundary conditions, understanding this crossing of the events horizon of these boundary conditions that you're talking about from this dream to this other dream, I would say the same. I would say that this is a dream embedded within a dream, embedded within a dream,
Hmm.
like the Russian
Yes.
doll,
The
like the Russian dolls, okay?
Marushka, what are they called?
La matrushka,
Matrushka? Yeah.
matrushka,
Yeah.
exactly,
The
that's the word.
nested Russian dolls. Yes.
The
Yeah.
matrushka, yeah.
Exactly.
And those matryoshka, and then you would say, so you're iterating in a fractal, I would say,
Hmm.
iterating in a fractal. But what happens is if you change a fractal? No, you change a fractal, that's like a quantum
Hmm.
jump leap, and then you're iterating in a different fractal. So I
Hmm.
see life like that, like different fractals that we're iterating at, and the universe hold by a larger universe, which is hold by a larger universe, is just going through the same
Hmm.
process. So at some point we have in common that with the universe,
Hmm.
you know
Yes.
it's like birthing frameworks to go through those events horizons to know the totality.
Hmm. So can you explain Event Horizon and the bound? So you said on the podcast that we did with Scott Katamas that everything is happening within the boundary, or reality happens within the boundary condition. Can you explain that? The event
Yeah,
horizon and then the boundary condition. And
yeah.
if you have images that would
Oh,
you think might be helpful, if you have easy access to that, we can you can pull something up too.
okay, okay, I didn't think of that. Okay, let me see if I we have some presentation that I could pull out. Yeah, so basically, um, boundary conditions and event horizons are kind of the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. Um, let's take, for instance, the in the archetypical form, the most pure form of the concept would be a black hole.
Okay.
Why? Because you have a boundary condition, which is the event horizon, but that event horizon, that boundary condition is not 0 or 1. I mean, it's got a let's say a width, which
Hmm.
is the whole event horizon, no? Which is and when I say that everything is happening in the reorganization of information that it's building the experience which is happening at that space. Because that's the place. Okay, let's imagine this. Imagine you have when you see the behavior of a black hole, you see that at its core, it's a singularity. Okay,
Hmm.
singularity. Singularity is like in the center of a hurricane. There's stillness, the point of stillness, but all around is
Movement.
extremely turbulent, extreme velocity, extreme,
Hmm.
but it's coherent. No,
Hmm.
it's coherent. So you get a huge amount of energy of angular momentum. That's why the energy at that spot is so high. If you
Hmm.
speak of a black hole, it's 10 to the 93 grams of energy. You have to put that into a. So then, when when you start moving out of the event of the singularity, which is like this, like the center of your bathtub where you have removed,
Hmm.
when you're
Yeah.
moving that, yeah, you're moving that, you're losing coherency,
Hmm.
and that loss of coherency at some point will start to create a first boundary condition, which is the black hole of the proton, let's say. Okay.
Okay. So
The
that's where the black hole is. It's not down where the singularity is.
well,
It's
that's what defines the limits of the black hole, what we call, but that's what defines also the limit of the, let's say, we call that how do you say that? Bose-Einstein condensate, everything, the PSUs that are conforming this
Mm-hmm.
vortex,
Mm-hmm.
they behave as a single entity
Mm-hmm.
in at unison because the coherency is extremely high, so they behave as a Bose-Einstein condensate. When they get to when they start losing coherency, what that means is the identity, they start to develop an identity of their own. They're not mimicking their,
Um, okay.
individuation starts.
Okay, I
That's what I'm
see.
saying.
Okay. I actually have some pictures, maybe uh,
Oh,
of a
yeah, if you can.
like a torus. Let's see, because it might be helpful for people watching.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, let me. Okay, so this one I actually, and you can tell me whether this is. I got this from William, but he can't remember where he got it.
Okay.
So I don't know where. Um,
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, so I kind of adjusted it. So the vision that what I saw from William is he had this image. Oh, I lost my cursor. Can you see my?
Oh,
Oh,
no, I
there.
see
Okay,
it.
there
I,
it
I
is.
see your cursor.
So
I
he
can.
had this half of the image right here. Not
Oh,
this. This wasn't
oh,
there. Okay, so
okay,
he
okay,
had just half of this image, and then
okay,
I copied it and then I put it on this half too to make it
okay.
kind of like a double torus, even though it doesn't look like a double torus. But the idea
Yeah.
is that it is let's just pretend it's a double torus.
Okay.
And then what I did is I was showing that we are within this flow. So I was
Yes.
trying to show I created another torus here
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
our human body is in the center of this torus. But
Yeah.
would you like me to take that off or is it
Uh,
okay?
it is okay.
It's okay. Okay.
Yeah, it is okay. It is okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now, yeah, but this is already encompassing like many things. But this is the same dynamic that you would find in a single proton.
Okay.
Okay.
So we
So
can
let's
pretend that this is a proton.
yeah, it's a fractal, exactly. Let's
Yeah.
stay, in fact, not only don't remove that image, let's keep that
Let's use
basic
that
image.
one. Okay.
Yeah, because that's the image that's gathering everything. Okay. And you'll see that that's a fractal, that's the kernel, that from that behavior you scale it up, and that behavior is not and it's not starting at the proton. Of course, it goes to the Planck spherical unit as well, and it goes inwards infinitely to the inside because the
Hmm.
dynamics, the principle is the same.
Okay.
So
So
that mechanism is, let's say, sacred. It's a mechanism of consciousness. That's what I call a quantum of consciousness, that
the
thing.
the feedback feed forward
Yeah,
dynamic of
yeah,
a PSU or a proton
yes.
is a quantum of consciousness.
Exactly. And
Okay.
you can scale it up to the size of the black hole of the sun at the center of the sun. That's another quantum of consciousness. And you can scale it up to the center of the universe, which is also a black hole, and that's another quantum of consciousness because they have boundary conditions. They are confined. This dynamics is confined. It creates confinement in a certain region of space.
So like all of these, because the idea is here, so here's particles of matter, it says quasars, spiral galaxies. So within this universal mind, which we know isn't just one of
Yeah.
these, it's infinitely large and
Yeah.
infinitely small. So you have these boundary conditions, is what right?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Exactly.
So this boundary condition makes up. So let's say that there's the galaxy, the Milky Way is in here somewhere, and
Exactly.
that's a boundary condition.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And you see that in modern physics, they will tell you that the size of the electron has nothing to do with the size of the proton. It has nothing to do with the size of the cell. It has nothing to do with the size of the planet
Hmm.
and of the galaxy. No, 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 no. No. What this is telling you is that all scales are deeply entangled. They are because everything is just happening. Reality is only happening at the event horizon, at that sweet spot.
And so when you said event horizon, that's right here. So for example, like if or here, which so that would be here is the event horizon.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
here's the point of
It would be,
singularity.
yeah, that's a singularity, and all that region that where the defacing started and creates the whole. volume of it, because at the end it will close the loop. It will close the loop,
Okay.
and it will define,
Okay.
um, a boundary.
So it basically it's defining this is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
defining. Yeah,
Okay.
and that gives you the size,
Okay.
the scale of the system, because it kind of like it's building up like this resonant chamber, which is basically a combination of the constructive and destructive interference of this rotational field, which are waves that are,
This is all
uh,
flowing,
yeah, this is all
create
flowing.
creating a
Yeah,
pattern of
yeah, creating a
energy.
pattern where the constructive and destructive interference is what creates that boundary condition.